Evening, everyone. Sorry I'm a bit late this evening. I was just actually feeling quite tired. I've had a really long day, and it just seems that there's been lots of little things pulling at me to get done. And so I got the girls to bed, and I'm here. But I just wanted to take an extra 5 minutes for myself just to get the drink that I love, which is this here, my golden milk. And I always drink this when I'm feeling tired, or just needing that sort of richness or nourishment. So it's piping hot. I can't actually drink it yet, but I'm dying to. So this evening, I thought I would just ease us in quite gently. I haven't done my meditation today. So actually, it would be really nice for me if we started with our meditation. I know we finished with it last week, and really, I'm just sort of playing around and seeing what feels best. But I think this evening, while my tea is cooling a little bit, I would really love for us to start with our meditation. So hopefully now you're all kind of becoming familiar with it, and we'll just tune in to begin. I will probably at the end do the blessing, but I'll probably sing that. But remember that you can always just say it. It's the sentiment, it's the words that matter anyway. I'm just feeling like to give myself a little bit of extra energy. I'll get my voice going. So get yourselves comfortable and bring your hands together and bring your hands into your heart center. And just take a nice deep breath in here. Another breath in through the nose and back out through the nose. And then we'll just inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And just bring both hands into Gyal Mudra and place them gently on your knees. Now take your right hand and your right thumb and place over your right nostril. Take a nice deep breath in through the left nostril. And exhale through the right. And inhale through the right. Gently and easily through the left. Now we're just going to do this for 3 minutes and we'll go. Inhaling Sat. Exhaling Nam. And you can use this just to bring your mind back if it starts to wander. We just say quietly to ourselves, last round now. Inhale. And exhale. Now let's just sit for a minute or so just in this space that we've created. And keep your eyes closed and just breathe naturally. And just let all the tension from the week go. And bring all your energy into our gathering for this evening. And you can gently open your eyes. Come to. So we just did a couple of minutes there. That was roughly about 3 minutes. And I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I did it with you. I really needed to talk about soul care this evening because I am normally so disciplined with it. And soul care for me, I guess, is the meditation side of things, breath work and using mantra and making time and space for myself and staying connected to how I'm feeling and what I'm trying to invoke for my moment to moment sort of experience. What am I wanting to bring to this moment? What am I wanting to bring to every moment? And just being conscious of that. But I'd say the last week or so, within the last week, I've just not done my meditation, my Kundalini meditation in the morning. And I've really, really, really seen and felt more than anything else the difference in not doing it. I've had a couple of headaches, and that's something that I really don't have anymore, despite tiredness and being stretched and pulled in a million directions. I don't seem to have that kind of tension headache ever really, but this week I've noticed it a couple of times, and I've got it ever so slightly just now, and I always notice my body protesting when I've not been doing my meditation. I don't know if it's because I'm sort of more sensitive to my environment or more sensitive as a person. I'm not entirely sure, or maybe it's just that I've really found something that works, and when I don't do it, I really do notice. And it's quite scary to think how long I went round in that circle of just tired and drained, and then finding anything that was going to sort of just pick me up and push me on. And I normally did that with caffeine or sugar, definitely sugar, lots of treats, and rewarding myself with I've got a really sweet tooth, so I would just always be going round and round and round in that, and it really doesn't work, and it's not any way that I could have kept living. I think the more and more it came into my awareness that at some point I had to confront it, and at some point I had to look at myself and try and figure out why I was doing those things, to try and give myself energy. And I realised that I actually was really hungry, like all the time, and it was manifesting as a sort of physical hunger, but actually my hunger was something else. You know, I think even now I wake in the morning with just I've got an appetite, a big appetite, and I always have to pause and give myself that time to ease into the rituals that let me assess where the hunger is. Is it in my body, or is my mind racing about something that I'm wanting to do with this day, or something that I feel I should be doing with this day? And sometimes I get really sort of taken with an idea, and when I do, I can get really fixated on it, and I think that creates a lot of hunger and a lot of momentum and a lot of energy, but sometimes it's nervous energy, and that very often spills over into my body, and I start really craving sweetness and indulgence, and just to try and feed this beast, really, that's like hungry on every level. And I think the more I meditate, the clearer that sense is of what my purpose is, what am I doing, what am I getting in the way of, or what's getting in the way of me being able to do it. And so I think I was really aware of that this morning. I woke and I was sort of tired, and I'm really very disciplined about doing something with that feeling of tiredness, by slowing down. And so when I wake and open my eyes, and the first thing I feel or think is I'm tired or I want to be asleep, that's me already sort of switching on to what am I going to do for myself now to make this easier, to make this feel less of a chore or struggle. And it happened this morning. I woke and I could feel my whole being just like, no, I need more sleep. I want more sleep. But I just put both of my feet out of the bed, and I just took a few deep breaths, and already in that couple of breaths, I was starting to think, okay, I can go downstairs, and I can put the kettle on, and I can start my day, and I can start it slowly. I don't need to rush. I don't need to force anything. And I have to be very careful with myself about how I start my day. And I'm quite sensitive to sound in the morning, and my daughter, my 4-year-old, is just so full of energy and so lively and so noisy, that I've got to have that little buffer where I've already sort of taken some time for myself so that I can just celebrate her when I see her. And I'm not sort of, trying to recoil or trying to stop the noise, or I just want to be able to let everything be whilst I'm letting myself be, and trying to find some way in all of that. The reality of my life is that I can't wake to silence. I wake to noise and requests, and sometimes a big dirty pile of dishes, and I work hard on all of those things that if I do wake and the first thing I think is I didn't sort out the kitchen and I'm going to go down there, and it's all stuff that could potentially put me in a sort of bad mood or just zap my energy when I go down and I think, oh God, like, look at the kitchen. But there's just so much about caring for myself just in seemingly insignificant ways, by taking a couple of deep breaths, not jumping into my day, just not doing that, but slowing everything right down. I hate to rush anyway. It just doesn't sit well with me, but I do, in that sort of soul care ritual that I have, find a way to pretty much flow with any resistance. And yeah, I get resistance a lot. But how I deal with that resistance is the thing that empowers me, and the thing that inspires me, and the thing that sort of opens up a different way of being. And meditation, or in Kundalini Yoga, they call it your sadhana, your spiritual practice. What do you do every day that allows you to show up for yourself, in your meditation, and really set the tone for your day? And there's this sort of feeling or expectation sometimes that you need to be sitting down, shutting out the world, and meditating in a really considered and focused way. And that's just not always possible for me. In fact, sometimes it's rarely possible for me. But my spiritual practice and my soul care is in extending kindness and gratitude towards the life situations that really challenge me. And that is my spiritual practice, I guess. That's my sadhana when I've not had the chance to meditate. And it's actually much more difficult to be all of those things when you've not meditated. So it's always really, I'd say, yeah, I need the meditation to give me more of that gratitude and kindness more of the time. But when I can't meditate, or when there's a reason that I'm struggling to sit with myself, then for some reason now I just seem more capable of catching myself. And very often it's with my parenting. And, I don't want to be grumpy and grouchy, and I don't want to ask my children to mind my feelings. Not, obviously we all want to respect one another's feelings, but I don't want there ever to be a sense in them that they have to shore up my feelings or help me feel differently. Or I just want them to know that even in my struggle, I can be kind to them. And so that's what I do. So my sadhana looks like sitting with my daughter when she's asked me for the 100th time if I'll sit with her and do one more thing, a jigsaw, or find a pen that she wants, or just whatever the request is, that after, you know, after only having been up 5 minutes and having been bombarded with this and that, and just you're right into your day. I think when there's children around. And the thing I do is I claim my slowness. I just give it time, even space and a pause between my hearing what's been asked of me and my actually responding to what's being asked of me. And giving myself that chance to just process how I'm going to be in the situation. So that's crucial, and that's something that I think everyone can probably benefit from doing more of. And yes, the sitting down every day and carving out 3 minutes of meditation will radically transform you as a person. It just will. I know this. It's the only reason I can be so certain about what I'm saying. For me, anyway. And you do have to feel it and experience it for yourself to know that yes, this does have a massive impact. Like, I can't unpick this now, and it's so comforting to know that I've done it consistently enough now that whether I actually do the 3-minute meditation or not, my spiritual practice is still somehow in my day. And it's been a very, very long time since I've had that sense of being lost or not quite knowing what way to turn or what thing to choose. There's just so much less of that, and I am continually challenged, and there's always something coming up that's asking something of me that I'm not entirely sure that I've got the time or the strength for, but it doesn't land with me the way that it used to, and I can seem to do something else with it, which is, it's incredible. And it's why I'm here. It's why I show up for myself every Friday night, and why I just feel such a burning need to sit here, whether there's one of you or 10 of you or none of you. And I think that's what meditation is as well. It's the ability to sit with what you have, and for that to be the thing that gets all of your attention for that period of time, and that you know you've somehow given yourself something really incredible. So yes, the soul care thing for me is just so varied now. It's got so many layers. There's so many things that I dip in and out of. So many different things that I have to bring back into my routine once I start seeing dips and shifts, and it's a constant monitoring, but it's so subtle and it's so easy that I can quite quickly sense and feel when I'm getting a bit off track, or when I feel like I really need to plug back into a more disciplined routine. Sometimes I can be very fluid in it and I can fit it into my day whenever I want, but if I start to feel drained and tired and really sluggish, that's when I'll sort of crack down on myself and make sure that I'm taking maybe half an hour every morning, and that I'm really rooting into my day. And sometimes I need to do that for a couple of weeks to sort of build myself back up and recharge my system. So I think the idea of soul care is such a big one, because it involves so much of our presence and so much of our intention for what we want from our life. And there's no more sort of stumbling around from day to day, not quite knowing who you are or what you want or what direction you're going in. Those things sort of fall away in my experience, and you're just constantly being called to this moment to bring your spiritual practice into this moment, and for everything that comes up, you're suddenly, instantly sort of magnetically engaged with, oh, here's the place where I need to be, here's the place where I'm being asked to come into my power and to be the best version of me that I can be. And that's kind of how I do it. When the challenge comes up, when the tantrum happens, when the unreasonable behaviour surfaces, when I'm thinking I've not got another ounce of strength for this thing or this person or this situation, that's it. It's that very feeling of overwhelm that suddenly propels me into surrender and into a very refined and gentle form of action that really has to do with the present moment. So I think you need to start carving out the things that really bolster you and support you and allow you to feel nourished in your day. Simple, tiny, insignificant seeming things that just make a world of difference. Like just now, I've got this, it's eucalyptus oil, essential oil, and I put it on just a handkerchief, and literally, it's just another little simple thing that I do, but I'll put some of that on there, and I just find that it really sort of clears my head and clears my mind, and refreshes me. It's something that I really love to do. I feel like it just really blasts the cobwebs away. I'm going to do it now, actually. So, a really lovely thing happened today. I had one of our gatherlings email me, and she was speaking to me about our gut instinct and following our heart. And she was saying that she's always heard these things said to her, given as advice. Trust your gut instinct or follow your heart. But she was saying, I've always struggled with that in my life. I don't really know what to do with it. I don't really understand fully what it means. How do you discern between your gut instinct, following your heart, and all the other voices in your head and all the other things that are going on in your life? How do we know? How do we know what to follow? And I thought, this is kind of at the heart of everything. I think we live in this world where we're all so disconnected, largely from each other, but predominantly from ourselves, so disconnected from knowing who we are. And for me, what came up when I was thinking about how do I talk on this and what do I say about instincts and following your heart, yeah, for me, it's about trust. Speaking very personally for me, it's definitely about, I get that feeling, something comes up, can I trust it? And I think the struggle for most people, and certainly for me for a long time, was I can't trust that. Something is telling me that there's some other way to be. There's something else that I should be doing to resolve this dilemma in me. And I think that comes because we have been trained into problem solving and thinking things through and fixing things and finding solutions. And effectively, we've been trained out of our feelings. And so when we do get a very strong feeling, sometimes an unsettling feeling, a frightening feeling, or just a very, very strong vibe about something, and actually for most people, our reaction is to mistrust that. And my feeling is that that is the thing to trust. And I don't think that those strong feelings that come up in us are ever wrong. Sometimes we quarrel with ourselves about what the right thing to do is. But I think that gut feeling is sort of almost directly connected to like source or to wholeness or oneness. And it's trying to keep us on track, and it's trying to tell us something very strong and very strong physical sensations about what to do. And yeah, I think that people get really confused by it and mistrust that. And I think we get some very, very strong messages through our body. And I think for me anyway, paying attention to where I was feeling things in my body, where predominantly I would feel a feeling when it was particularly confusing or upsetting or perplexing, what was going on in my body? Could I connect to that? You know, very often when I'm feeling panicky because something's happening that feels really out of my control, I always feel that here. I feel it in my throat. I start getting a sort of lump. I start getting a very, very physical connection. And I think for a long time that unease would make me feel like I couldn't get to the thing that would give me the answer. So, if I could just get this feeling out of my body, I'd be able to think clearly, I'd be able to feel clearly, but there's just this constant feeling that I start trying to get rid of, or start trying to do something with, or start trying to sort of wish away, or and actually it's normally quite a stubborn thing. And I think that's because if we don't pay attention to the feeling, we're kind of just missing the whole point. So I think with your gut instinct and with the idea of following your heart and about knowing the way to go, it's, for me, definitely got something to do with trust and with intuition. And I think women, especially when we're really close to ourselves and really tapped into ourselves, the intuition thing can just be like on fire. I feel like since I've really meditated consistently, so these last 4 years, I just feel like I get these lightning bolts of intuition that are just so accurate and so compelling and so convincing to me that I could never ever doubt them. And it comes back to trust again. So when we get these downloads or these feelings that are just intense and feel very accurate, can we trust that intuition, that knowing? So I think it's such a complicated thing, because tied up in trust and intuition and really getting to the heart of what our gut instincts are telling us and what our desires are really trying to tell us, we have to have probably cultivated our spiritual practice, our sadhana, or our soul care. I think the more we are connected to ourselves, the stronger that connection is, the more easily we can trust our bodies and trust our intuition. And in all honesty, I do believe that we get there by creating stillness and time to breathe. And I really honestly think that meditation is the key that unlocks that particular door. And it's just so difficult, I think. initially with meditation, because there are so many voices in our heads, and it is incredibly difficult trying to find that one voice that's ours in amongst it all. And I think connecting with the song is my attempt at trying to unpick all of those things so that we can hopefully get a sense of that, get a feel for it, and become very well acquainted with that feeling and what that voice makes us feel like, so that we can very quickly discern my voice from other voices and what all of that is. We're getting quite dark in here. Excuse me, I want to put this in. So, we've heard of a thing called our sixth sense, and I went and did a bit of reading once I'd had that lovely email come through. And so the sixth sense that we talk about, and we all have a vague idea of what we think that is, and it's connected to our intuition and to our insights. And in terms of the chakras of the body, the sixth sense, or the sixth chakra, is at the brow point. It's here at the third eye. And actually, it's quite a high point in our physical development, or physical evolution. And the chakras of the body, if you believe in that sort of thing, all hold energy. And as we clear and remove blocks from every chakra of the body, we sort of transcend up and beyond our physical experience into our spiritual experience. And so by the time we're getting to our intuition and our insight and really working on the blocks in our third eye or our sixth chakra, it's quite an evolved state of our human experience. And very often it can be a really lovely thing to just go right back down to before you start trying to figure out how you can trust your gut instinct and how you can better follow your heart, and what's the difference between those things, and how can we pick out the voice that's our voice, and what, all that confusion about what to trust can very often be rooted in something that's much further down our body. Maybe it might be to do with our root chakra, how rooted into our lives we feel. Maybe it's got something to do with our heart chakra and how we're loving and how we're communicating, maybe through our voice. How free are we in all the other aspects of our physical being? Have we attended to all the things that we need? So our root chakra would probably be dealing with our very basic needs of food and shelter and cultivating a strong foundation and roots. But there's so many other levels. And as we remove the blocks in all of these other aspects of ourselves, then our intuition very often will be a much easier thing to access. And I definitely find that through Kundalini yoga and through working very, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're really focused in on one particular chakra and strengthening it and healing it, I really do think that is when we get a sense of all these other much more sort of transcendent feelings that we all at times have glimpses of. I last month spent time working on the lower triangle, which is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra. So the three at the bottom, and they sort of form a triangle. And this is to create strength in our body and in our physical body. And we did that by quite a rigorous meditation that also had some yoga in it as well, and it was all about strengthening the core. And when we've got a strong core, not just physically, but the physical side's got something to do with it, but also connecting that physical energy to what's connected to our core, the core of our selves, our spiritual selves, the core of our being, of our lives. And when we make those things one, that's when we can start to move up and heal. So it's something else that you take slowly, and something else that you just pay attention to. That's really what's helped me, is to not rush any of these things that come up. So I'd written a little bit about it. So just to more directly answer the question, I think the sixth sense is like when you know something isn't right, when something feels off, and that's your sixth sense sort of kicking in. It's informing you of something, and that's the point at which most people start to either panic or get confused or not know what to trust. So the seventh chakra, which is the crown chakra, which is at the top of our head, is knowing what that gut feeling is specifically about. So it's getting past the confusion and actually knowing, I know what this feeling means. I've felt it before, or maybe it's new to me, but I've got a very strong sense of why I'm feeling this. And I think that extra element comes in once we are working much more closely with ourselves on our intuition and on our strengthening the other chakras of the body. Because we can stay stuck in the knowing, this sort of sense of it's a nagging doubt, a nagging feeling, and we know it's telling us something, and we kind of know we need to do something with it, but we're not quite free enough or clear enough or unblocked enough to just get to the thing that lets us know why it's there and what we want to do with it. So that was some of my thoughts on gut instinct and how to follow our heart. Something else that I really love to do is keep a journal. And I think it's really lovely to pay particular attention to the incidences of your life, the coincidences of your life, and the synchronicity. So, whenever you have a moment where you are thinking about someone and then you bump into them or they pop into your experience, that's the sort of thing I really pay attention to and I note down, because I think that's letting me know that I'm really closely aligned with my intuition and with being on track with myself and what I'm feeling. And I think we just get these little signals from the universe, if you want to call it that, that let us know that we're where we need to be. And I read a lovely thing about that. Now, did I write it down? I wonder if I did. Sorry, it'll come back to me. Maybe I didn't write it down. I think it was a lovely little it was a lovely little poem. So it's actually maybe on, I like to make little boards on Pinterest, and I'd found a lovely thing today that I wanted to read to everyone, and it sort of relates to that. So it sort of connects with this idea of what's going on around us, and the soul care element comes into it for me with this as well, because it's talking about just the humble daily acts and how we can infuse them with just everything that really matters. So this is a poem by Mary Oliver, and she writes, "Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy." And acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. O good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. So, acclamation. I stumbled over that word. I love that. She just finds a way to just make it the most divine thing, to just notice the most humble of things and to be in that with a humble spirit and to bring our attention to that. And I try to do it every day. I try to do it in every moment of my day. And I think it can give us so much just to simplify our lives and to take it moment by moment. But it's actually really annoying me that I can't find that one little thing that I really wanted to. If I do find it, I shall come back to it. But I thought if you're interested in that feeling about confusion over your gut instincts or following your heart, yeah, she did share that she'd had an experience of listening to that and how this decision that she'd come to had just served her so much better than if she had listened to all the other stuff. And I thought that was really poignant, and I think that it's something that I do not infrequently. Actually, I like to do this, just a very quick written thing where I ask myself to remember a time when I really trusted in myself or my feelings, and to remember as well a time when I turned away from it, when I felt something very strongly, but I just didn't go with it. And so in doing that, I get to get a really strong sense of what the feelings are and what the voices that I've listened to, and I can sense the one that is the voice that I should be listening to. And that inner voice is your truth, and it is the truth. It's the truth of you. And that sort of intuitive language, it always shows up in our body. It's always there for us to sense and feel. It's like our intuition coming through our body. And I kind of call it this intuitive language because it's speaking to us with these bodily sensations without even the inner voice. I mean, that tends to come and it tends to accompany it, and they tend to be sort of woven together. But there's really something about that. And when it comes to trust, I sincerely trust anything synchronistic that happens in my life. I think it really has got a message for me. I don't think life is random. And I do think everything happens for a reason. And I think the really big thing that I want you to take away from this evening, that I feel like I've really taken on board and that has really transformed how I live my life, is this. And I think I maybe did write it down because I did not want to not say it. Yeah, it's this idea about good things happening to good people, and that if you're a good person or a kind person or a nice person, that life will reward you. And whilst I think that when we're in a sort of vibration where if what we truly think and feel and believe is really the thing we think and believe and isn't something else, then I think we always match up with what we feel we need. But I think we really do get what we feel over what we think. So, you know, we can be thinking and thinking and thinking about a situation or what we want from it or how we're going to rationalise it. But actually, if the feeling that's connected to that is fear or doubt or self-loathing, then we just get more fear and doubt and self-loathing. We don't get the thing we're thinking about because the feeling is just so much more powerful. So now I have this way of seeing things, and it's got nothing to do with fairness. It's got nothing to do, well, this is what I gave to this situation, to this person. So it's only fair that I should have something in return that's equal to that. And I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's about evolving and it's about wholeness. And very often we can think that there's something that we really want. We really want it to be different. We really want something to not be the way it is. And we want something else. But very often it's not what we need. And actually, a lot of the time in our wanting, we are really masking what it is that we need with finding something else to want from a situation or a person. And if this happens to you a lot, where you feel like you're in situations where you feel like you've been fair and you've been kind, but actually when you pull back, you can get a sense that, am I evolving? Am I whole as a person? And if you can't really say yes to those things, it's incredibly difficult for there to be any truth to the wanting. Because I think life will keep giving us the lesson until we learn it. And I really do think that regardless of the fear and the worry and the doubt and the anxiety that we carry alongside these things that probably keep coming back to haunt us or that we have to keep facing, I do believe that on the other side of that is always something positive. I think the lesson keeps coming because it's trying to get us to push through that so that we can get to the thing that it's actually trying to give us, to the thing that we know we actually need. So when we're in a situation that's depleting us or harming us or causing us a lot of self-doubt, I believe that those feelings are there because we must learn the lesson that stands between us and the thing that we actually want to feel. So if we don't feel loved, I believe that once we get through the thing that we think we want or the thing that we want to keep a hold of, we actually get to the thing that's on the other side. And it's kind of like, I believe it's waiting for us. I believe that there's only ever something positive that can come from something that in this moment you think is killing you or just stripping you down or bringing you back to zero or leaving you completely bewildered and who are you and what. All of those things, I think, are the sort of messenger of hope to me now. Whenever there's something really huge, I know without any worry or concern that the thing that I really need is on the other side. So that's the one thing that I really wanted to share, and I really hope that that's been beneficial in some way to you. There was something else. I know time's ticking on, and there was something else that I wanted to remember to tell you. Oh yes, I think in talking about releasing and letting go and really having the courage to let go. if you're in a place where you do feel that there's things that you really need to release from your life, it's kind of like a lovely time that we're talking about it, because tomorrow is the full moon, and the full moon is just an incredible aid in helping us let go and release and remove blocks in our lives. And so I always do a little full moon ritual, which is really simple, and it really just marks my attention and awareness to the moon. And I always check for the moon. I always look for her. It always gives me something. But if there's something that you really want to release and to move towards more clarity with, tomorrow is a perfect time, and I will be doing my ritual, and I thought I would share it with you. So once we finish here this evening, we can you can check your emails maybe in about an hour or so. I'm going to send you on the little PDF that I've written up of what I'll be doing tomorrow night by the light of the full moon. And yeah, you can do it along with me, or you can do it tomorrow evening at around about whenever you notice the full moon. And I've also written, sorry, this baby monitor is making noise because it's running out of battery. I've also recorded a little visualization, a full moon visualization, which I'm kind of excited about. And I really hope that this can give you a little nudge or a real sense of relief if you do this tomorrow evening. The moon is on your side. She's really pulling on you to let go, and tomorrow is the optimal time for her to help you do that even. So give it a shot. The wee link will be winging its way to your email, and you can do that tomorrow night. It'd be lovely to think that you're doing it along with me. Right, well, I'm going to get going. That's just been about an hour. And we'll just close with May the Long-Time Sun as our final blessing this evening. So just bring your hands to your heart center, and I'm going to sing May the Long-Time Sun, but feel free to either say it quietly to yourself or to just speak it out. Okay, and it's been lovely, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Sat Nam. Sat Nam, everybody. Thank you for being here this evening. I'm off to bed. Good night.